During the press conference, we also learned more about Matthew's arrest and Sandra's last moments.
At approximately 10:45 a.m. this morning, the FBI arrested former Stoughton police officer Matthew Farwell for allegedly taking the life of Sandra Birchmore in order to ensure her silence. The FBI SWAT team took him into custody at a shopping plaza in Revere without incident. Immediately following his arrest, we shared this significant development with Sandra's family. We know it does not ease their pain, but hopefully it answers some of their questions. Simply put, this case is about seeking justice for Sandra, who we believe was killed by Matthew Farwell. We in law enforcement are entrusted with immense authority because our decisions can have life-changing consequences, both good and bad. To temper that power, we must adhere to the highest of ethical standards. What we believe Officer Matthew Farwell did, as outlined in today's indictment, is depraved and a gross betrayal of his sworn oath and the public's trust. Let me be clear. Matthew Farwell's gun and badge did not grant him authority to violate the Constitution. What's also troubling is we believe Matthew Farwell staged Sandra's body. And in the days that followed, this sworn police officer repeatedly lied to Massachusetts State Police investigators about the nature of their relationship. It's a stark contrast to the sheer excitement and pure joy that Sandra felt when she told Farwell that she was expecting his child, texting him a photo of a poster she had made celebrating the pregnancy. Our investigation also uncovered additional evidence that is inconsistent with someone choosing to die by. In the hours leading up to Sandra's death, she reached out to a photographer to inquire about booking a newborn photo shoot. She also reached out to a friend about obtaining baby clothes. And at the time that she was in the middle of doing laundry when she died, with a load in the washing machine and another one in the dryer.
I'm sorry, but anybody who is thinking of taking their own life is not preparing and getting baby clothing. They are not preparing and scheduling a newborn photo shoot. They're not in the middle of changing their laundry over from the washer to the dryer, which is what was happening when she was killed. And it was mentioned in the press conference. She was living life. She was literally taking steps in her daily life in those hours of moving forward, not thinking of taking her own life. So now, not only did law enforcement release the indictment and then have that press conference, but they also released even more documents. Documents that would reveal things that most people never even expected. And I want to warn you, this gets graphic, disgusting, and outrageous, okay? So to start, as many people would expect, there was plenty of documentation of the conversations that Matthew and Sandra were having over text messages. And when I say plenty, I'm talking along the lines of over 32,000 text messages. It was clear in many of these text messages that Matthew was worried about it getting out that he essentially was grooming and sexually harming Sandra from a very young age. That's based on the fact that he consistently told Sandra to delete all of their messages because those messages were evidence of his misconduct. Now, some of those texts were them talking about the very first time that they ever had sex. And this first set of text messages took place in 2019, although the first time that they had sex was in 2013. But in this text exchange, Sandra told Matthew that she was glad that he got to be the one to take her virginity. To which Matthew responded that it was, quote, a big thing to get to be the first. About a month later, in another text exchange, Matthew asked, what would you have done if we never used a condom and I never pulled out? And Sandra responded that she still would have finished school. In another one in 2020, Sandra says, I had butterflies so bad the day that you took my virginity. Matthew responds, me too, it was such a big day. Sandra says, I still know the date to this day. Matthew says, really? She says, yes. And then he responds with a smiley face. Sandra says, that's not a date I'll ever forget. It was April 10th, 2013. He sends another smiley face. She responds with, best day of my life with a face with the heart emoji. And to that he replies, me too. Which, I just gotta say, if the best day of your life, Matthew, is having sex with a minor who you groomed, you gotta figure out your priorities, my man.